Actually, maybe you can start and then we can have the next session with him, because otherwise everybody is waiting on that one.
Fine.
Yeah. So, Darshan, are you good to go?
Yeah, I'll start with my presentation.
Okay. So, before you start, a quick note about Shashanji. So, Shashanji, for those who don't know, he is from Anand in Gujarat. Yeah, and he was in a corporate role, but for his love of numismatics and mules, yeah, he
Yeah,
chose to now exit his job, and he's now full time into researching, and over the last few years he has done a lot of I would say human work in this field, and which is actually helping the entire fraternity, the entire numismatic community. Yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't known him for a long time, and that is purely my loss. And I look forward to meeting him and learning more from him in the coming days. Yeah. So today we have him to tell us more about when we keep on hearing mules, and for old timers like me, mule is nothing but a beast of burden. But I think that definition has changed throughout, and he can tell us how mules have become very important and valuable. So over to you, Shashanji. Let us know more about mules. Yeah, and in the new light of things, what are the new discoveries which the fraternity has seen, which you have also brought to light in the last years. Over to you.
thank you, Amar Birji. First of all, congratulations to SK Imtiaz for launching his second edition. One of the most weighted book for prefix collectors and some serious collectors who were basically finding it difficult for last 3 years to get the updated data, and again to look forward for some updates in terms of prefixes, cutoffs, splits, and some more varieties of themes which most of the numismatics or notaphilist collectors they are always looking for, so that they can basically enter into a kind of a difficult or challenging theme for themselves, and definitely to get the appreciation based on that. So one of the small theme which I am going to discuss about in the Republic India paper money is about the mule banknotes. First of all, my own introduction, which Amar Birji has very nicely portrayed. I'll just add one line to it. I've made my hobby as my profession now. So I was earlier an IT professional, but now I'm a full-time numismatist or a full-time notaphilist, and I enjoy doing this activity. And this has helped me getting more into connection with good number of friends. And today I'm happy that most of the numismatic and notaphilist friend circle they know me well, and I'm getting a good support from everyone. Uh, with the help of good number of say prefix collectors, I have basically gone into this particular subject, which is the mule notes. So I'm going to explain you about what mule notes are, and how this is a small but very specialized kind of theme, and how one can basically get into these kind of themes, and they can actually get into some methodology by which they can actually collect this particular banknotes, or they can even research their by their own that how they can distinguish normal notes from the mule notes. So mule notes they are actually quite important from the study perspective because they are odd one out, and how they are produced is something which we'll now see. So we have say 5 or 6 things in our objective which we are going to discuss through this particular session, and more details can be actually seen through Imtiaz's book, or maybe even by my own ebook which I have circulated in public domain, and which has got a lot of details about this mule notes. So we'll start with what exactly is the mule note. So generally this mule term is evolved when say I mean when two creatures, basically different species creatures, they have sort of say if we made them, or if we basically have some sort of baby out of two odd creatures, then we get a mule kind of product. So for example, if we have a horse and a donkey, so what kind of thing we will get is something like a mule, which I have shown in the presentation here. Now, how I'm relating this with banknote is like, suppose I mean, in RBI, any paper money is having its own design concept, which basically they fix before they actually make their um, banknote plates. So these plates are actually used for printing purpose. So there is a front plate and there is a back plate. Now, combination of these two plates generate the note, and that is the final copy which we receive in our hand. But suppose the design of first plate and second plate, how they originally thought, there is some change in the order, or maybe some wrong handling has been done, then such things basically create such mule nodes. And in mule nodes, basically there are variety of things which has evolved or basically observed over a period of time, wherein either the front signature is having the mismatch than the original concept, so they are called as signature mules, or there are sometimes backside the years are mismatching then from the order in which they were actually supposed to be printed, so they are called as date, or they are called as year mismatch mules. So these are basic varieties of mule, which I'm going to explain in the forthcoming session. Now, mules basically exist in both paper money as well as in coin. So the basic definition is like, if something in the front plate or in the back plate is changed from the original design, then they basically lead to a mule nodes creation. So this is the basic definition. It is applicable to coins as well. If the front design of the coin or the back design of the coin is changed from the original design, it will lead to some sort of mule coins generation. Same applies for the mule nodes as well. Now, this particular term mule is not something which RBI has basically generated. It is a numismatic or notaphily term. So it is basically a virtual terminology which is assigned to such notes, and they are not treated as a error node by RBI. Once generated, they are not actually treated as an error node. So mule, as I said, it's not an official terminology. It's not something which RBI or central bank or any other countries, basically whosoever are having these mule notes issued by them, they don't have any say regular terminology. It's just a numismatic terminology or notaphily terminology which we use for our own sake of usage. We want to distinguish it from normal notes, and therefore we call it a mule nodes. And how basically they are significant, because they are sometimes in a very small quantity. These are produced by some human errors, and therefore they are produced in a very small quantity, and therefore it is quite distinguishable item, and therefore a good collection item for people who prefer some sort of rarity based collection. And it also requires a lot of study before to basically get into such kind of collection. So it requires a lot of prefix information, a lot of mega prefix information to reach to this subject, and to understand the pattern in which these notes are actually printed by RBI. So one has to understand how these things are printed. So the basic process of note printing is, first of all, the notes design is printed. Say for example, we take any denomination. So what will happen is, like, some team of designers will actually think of what sort of design they need to have. So design will have its own layout, security features, and many other things which will be discussed in a very granular level by these designers. And those things then would be by computer technology would be put into engraving plates, and those plates then would be used for the printing purpose. Now printing again has got sequence of processes wherein it will be having the, say, the paper which is going to be used will have some sort of security features first integrated within it, and then it will go for pre-printing process, then offset printing, later intiglio printing, and last the serial number printing, and then the cutting of the notes. Cutting and finishing of the notes is the final stage, where all this process would be finished, and then they will be tied up into, say, a stack of 100 serial notes, or maybe if it is having some sort of errors in between, or they require some sort of replacement, then star notes would be introduced in. So this is how normally the printing is basically done. Now in this process, majorly during this intiglio printing, okay, there are chances of some ignorance or human error wherein these mule notes are getting created. So what happens is, like, during this pre-printing and offset printing, the paper is basically having the design ready, wherein only, say, the next level printing, which basically is demanding the inset and year to be printed in, that level of printing is already done. So while this intiglio printing is done, they need to carefully pick up the stack of the papers where they need to match the right year or right signature of the stack. It will yield to mule nodes generation. So this is how mule nodes are primarily created. There can be other method also which can be much more complex, and we'll switch to how mule nodes are identified and who basically validates them. So
Prashant,
there
can you
are
hear me?
basically broadly two methods in which the mule nodes can be identified. First, by the mega prefix collector. Now mostly, I mean, as a paper collector, we all start our journey with a signature set collection. The next level to it is to basically get into prefix collection. Prefix is again sort of alphabetical collection of the order in which the notes were issued. Now, each of these alphabet may be from 1 rupee to 20 rupee, or the range 50 rupees to maybe higher denomination has got its own prefix type. So it may be like single prefix letter in 1 to 20, or there may be two prefix letter in say higher denominations, which is 50 and above denominations. Each of these prefix letters then again have say prefix serial number, which basically is starting from 0 to 99. So each of these numbers when collected by any collector, okay, would actually come to know whether the sequence of printing has gone in a right way, or there are some disorders or some mismatches which are coming in, and therefore the chronological order of collection will yield to some sort of exploration that something has not been printed properly by RBI. So these gaps are then studied, how exactly these gaps were arrived, where exactly there are some turning points which basically is not as per the expectations or as per the linearity of the printing. So these things are then studied by the mega prefix collectors, and they keep recording the things. So all the books which are there in market, they basically are evolved from mega prefix collection data sheets. So all the prefix data or the cutoffs and the splits, they are basically the contribution of mega prefix collectors, and they do a very high level research activities, and those contribution is helping each of us to basically have our own collection, and we basically can find out the rarity based on mega prefix collection only. So these mega prefix collectors find such abnormalities, and they distinguish whether the note falls into the normal category or it falls into the mule category. There are reverse splits, there are some sort of hybrid splits. So these are all explored by mega prefix collectors only, and they only are the one who can actually validate it. Now, there can be a set of certain collectors who may not be so expert, but then also their luck is favoring a lot, and they may actually get some notes which may not be visible in some sort of prefix books or some sort of data sheets which they are holding. So they then basically raise these concerns that I have found something which is abnormal. Can someone basically highlight whether this is a normal note or whether it is a mule note? So that way, by fluke or by coincidence, such notes are basically identified, but the person who has actually identified may or may not have the expertise level to actually certify that this note is mule or it's not a mule. So then they will pass it to some group or some forums where senior prefix collectors, or I'll say senior mega prefix collectors, they will discuss these prefixes, they'll match it with their own data sheets which they have, and they will try to tally the things. If they find some sort of abnormalities, they will basically get deeper into it, they will try to seek more information, they will try to check out the serial numbers also of those notes, and they will try to assess it from every angle, and then they will qualify whether it is a mule note or it's not a mule note. So it definitely requires a lot of intellectual contribution from mega prefix collectors. As on date, there is no single body or single person who is self-sufficient to certify these things. So definitely these things are work based on intellectuals feedback, and then there is a consensus which is basically generated out of it, and that is where the new notes are identified and validated. Now, between say 2014 and till date, there were good number of mule dates actually been identified, and they were listed into all the denominations. So I'm going to quickly run through some of the mule notes which were basically identified, and how one can actually follow through the checklist and all those things, so that they can actually have their own mule collection. Now, starting with 1 rupee denomination, 1 rupee has got just two notes as a mule notes, which are say prepared, I mean, which basically got printed in 1988 in S. Venkatraman signature with A inset, and in V prefix, it was just 82V and 83V, which basically got printed in year 1988. The rest of the V prefix note actually falls in 1989. So this was something very odd which was observed later. I mean, it didn't appear as a mule note initially. Everyone basically couldn't find this level of granular details, but later, once this mule note definition was very clear, we tried relating the things like what all things can be fit into the mule definition. So 1 rupee, these two notes actually fit into the mule definition, and the discovery happened much later. And that time, uh, it was identified as the first mule note in Republic India. first mule note, though I mean the discovery happened way late, but this was technically qualified as the first mule note in Republic India, and it therefore is very interesting to have 82V, 83V in the collection along with the cutoffs, which are basically 81V and 84V. These two notes, basically 81V and 84V, falls in 1989, whereas the mule notes falls in the year 1988. So that is where you can see the divergence or the turning points where exactly mules are getting generated. And the reason is simple. There is a backplate change which was supposed to be, say, for the entire V prefix, it has to be 1989. But for 82V and 83V, the backplate was having the dates 1988. And there it created a sort of mismatch and led to a mule generation. Something similar happened in 5 rupees, and it happened in the 44th issue of 5 rupees in year 2010. Now 2010, C prefix was printed from 00C to 13C in a chronological order, but then it was observed that 97C, 98C and 99C also has a date of 2010, whereas in between prefixes like 14C to 96C, they are all falling in 2011. So this was another odd case where there was a backplate mismatch, and therefore these three prefix number 97C, 98C and 99C, they are basically categorized as mule prefixes. So this is the only example of 5 rupees. The previous one was the only example of 1 rupee. So far these denomination has received just a very small category or small number of mule prefixes in it. Now 10 rupees and 20 rupees, there has got lot of mule prefixes and again many prefix numbers within it. So if someone is trying to make a collection of 10 rupees, definitely there are good number of prefixes within it. There are good number of mega prefixes within each of these prefix. So these are the tables which I'm going to share with you in this PPT, where you can actually go through, you can prepare your own checklist out of it. If someone wants this data, it's available in Imtiaz book, as well as they can take it from me. They can make out their own collection out of this. The reason of these being the mule notes, I've already mentioned in the remarks column, and the data which basically highlights where exactly the mule starts from or where exactly it ends, which are the cutoffs which basically distinguish normal nodes from the mule nodes. So those things are highlighted in this table. The period of these governors, the issue code, everything is mentioned in this. So one can easily follow through these checklists and they can have their own collection of mule nodes. This is about 10 rupees. In 20 rupees, again, there are a good number of mules. A lot of errors which has actually happened. And very interesting thing about mule node, the concept actually started or it took popularity in the year 2014. So in 2014, what has happened is like uh, one of the press, which is Devas Press, they accidentally printed notes of D. Subbarao, whereas D. Subbarao got a retirement in probably August 2013, and September 2013 onwards, it was Raghuram Rajan who took the responsibility as a governor. So still they continued printing the notes in Devas Press up to February month with the signature of D. Subbarao, and the year date which is mentioned on the note is 2014. So eventually in 20 rupees, in 100 rupees and even in 500 rupees, these are the prefixes which were basically printed under such error, and it was so massive that if we take the total of these notes, there are 372 million pieces which were printed. And if we talk only about the 500 rupees note, around 190 prefixes were printed, and each prefix, if we start from all 01 note to 10 lakh number note, and if we calculate, we do a mathematical calculation, the amount which was printed was somewhere around 95 billion rupees. So it was very hard for RBI to pull back this particular notes or to withdraw this kind of money from the market. And RBI never treated mule notes as an error note. So there were no questions about pulling these notes back from market. They actually they 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 were not getting into the technicalities of the note. They continued its usage and its circulation. So till date, these notes are available in market. Only thing is 500 rupees notes, they are withdrawn because of demonetization. So 100 rupees make the mega prefix collection, and in 100 rupees there is also a star note which is also counted as a mule note. Same way in 20 rupees also there is one star note. which is counted as a mule star node. These two star nodes are quite distinguishable because in star node there are hardly any mule nodes observed so far. So they have their own uniqueness, rarity, and prices associated. So these are the tables which one can follow through for their mule nodes collection. Uh, One can even go to the next level of collection, which is mega prefix collection. So they can go through each of these numbers and they can actually create all the mega prefix collections from, say, different prefixes issued under each of these issues. Now, the basic question which comes to collectors is, are all mule nodes rare? Because there is a misconception in the market that something which is termed as mule, are they all rare? Now the answer is no. Not every mule nodes are rare. Some are produced in abundant quantity and therefore they are easily available and they don't have a prices associated. Whereas some nodes in the mule, they are exceptionally rare and therefore those nodes are actually having the rarity, scarcity, and the prices or the collection would have its own challenge for such items. So one has to assess those information, and to get to that level one has to get in contact with variety of prefix collectors or mule prefix collectors. From them only they can actually get this knowledge in a correct sense. They can also go through the books like one of Imtiaz or the book which I have shared with all of you. So these books basically have some sort of rarity index highlighted in it, and that will be able to guide you about the quantities being printed into such issues and whether they are achievable in terms of making your collection, or they are very rare and therefore the price may be, say, way high for the collection. These things can actually be made out from such collections. uh, uh, I wish you all a great time. Thank you all. And there is a small message which I would like to share with all of you. uh, I feel in this hobby there is nothing like smaller or bigger collectors. I mean, there are a lot of things one can actually explore. They can have their own theme. So for them, there is a small message which I'm sharing with, and I'm making the end of my presentation here. Thank you all. Jai Hind.